Well, Egypt's security forces have been battling ISIL fighters in Sinai for years, resulting in hundreds of deaths. At least 48 soldiers and police officers have been killed just this year. One of the worst attacks was in July, when 23 soldiers died after suicide car bombs tore through 2 military checkpoints. In the last few months, there's been a rise in attacks targeting local tribes who work with the armed forces. ISIL brands them traitors for cooperating with soldiers and police. Another major target is Coptic Christians. In February, dozens of Christian families fled the region after a number of killings by suspected ISIL fighters. Let's speak now to Dalia Fahmy, who's an associate professor of political science at Long Island University, and she joins us live now from New York. Thanks for being with us on this NewsHour. So there have been various explanations put forward as to why this particular mosque might have been targeted, that it was a Sufi mosque, or indeed people in that area belong to a particular tribe that has cooperated with the Egyptian military. What are your thoughts?
So yes, there is the argument out there that's being circulated that this is in fact a Sufi mosque and that there's ideological reasons. But I think there's more to the story than that, and it's part of the second part of your question of that this belonged to a family or a tribe that was seen as cooperating with the Sisi regime. Terrorist organizations such as ISIS or Walayat, the ISIS offshoot that is in Egypt, or Ansar Bait al-Maqdis, have strategically attacked those that are seen as in collusion with the state. Not just the security apparatus, not just the police and the military, but now they are attacking individuals who are seen to be those cooperating with the state. And so what we're seeing happening today is by virtue of attacking a mosque, a shrine, much like the attacks of the Coptic Church, these terrorist groups, and of course they have yet to claim responsibility for them, seem to be attacking anyone who is in collusion with the state. And so that is leading to a new strategic behavior within this terrorist group, which is they will actually attack all civilians. And to attack a mosque at the height of the congregants coming together on a Friday means that anyone, all civilian populations now are part of the game for this terrorist group.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrific. I mean, attacks, of course, have been happening in Sinai for years now. There are various armed groups operating in the region. Why is it that the Egyptian government does struggle to defeat these armed groups?
So these armed groups, for example, Ansar Bait al-Maqdis and Walayat Sinai, have garnered more strength in the state since the 2003 military coup that removed Egypt's first democratically elected leader. Now, historically, when the regime would crack down on, for example, between 2004 and 2006, on attacks on tourists, it would lead to mass arrests, torture, and no trials. And so you saw the beginning of fomenting of a cycle of violence, of state repression, targeting these groups through arbitrary arrests, leading to them fomenting a cycle of violence. And so what's become clear today is the state can no longer provide security. Every time there is an attack, the president comes on TV and says, we will respond with a heavy hand and we will secure Egypt, and the situation gets worse. And just as he responded today, we are already seeing the beginnings of an aerial bombardment on the area, which is not really clear that it's actually targeting those that caused this, because they have yet to claim responsibility. But it's also leading to a level of uncertainty in society that both the state and terrorist groups are fomenting fear in society.
Well, that was going to be my next question. We know that some sort of military operation is underway. It's not absolutely clear what is happening in Sinai, unless you know more than we do right now. But what does this all mean for the ordinary people in Sinai, who must now be, particularly in that area in the north, must be living in fear pretty much all the time?
So not only are they living in fear and uncertainty, but this is also one of the most underdeveloped places in Egypt. And so what the government needs to do is rethink its counterterrorism strategy and really address the core issues that lead for terrorist groups to come into areas like this, especially when, for example, ISIS is being driven out of Iraq and Syria today. We don't want to see Egypt be the new site for fomenting of terrorism.
Really good to get your perspective. That's Dalia Fahmy joining us there from New York. Appreciate your time. Thank you.